A dream season has become a reality for Tony Stewart. Car number 14 and race number 14 is a winner, and for Stewart Haas Racing, a new era has truly begun. In a backup car from the back of the field, this 14 team simply got it done today at Pocono. Hello everybody and welcome to NASCAR Victory Lane on Speed. I'm John Roberts alongside of Mr. Excitement, Berwick, Pennsylvania's Jim Spencer, and also from St. Louis, Missouri, Kenna Wallace, and now from Rushville, Indiana, the Rushville Rocket, Tony Stewart is a winner as an owner and a driver. It was not a matter of if, but when he was going to get this done. He did it today.
He won this race on gas mileage. No, he was in the top 5 the whole day. He was a factor. He led this race. Carl Edwards, 1448, all these guys raced hard all day long. Tony Stewart saved the fuel. Kenny, you and I were talking, the old dirt racers, saving that throttle. Here's Rick Hendrick. Kenny, what does Rick Hendrick supply to this team?
You know, Rick Hendrick said, he stopped by and he said, hey, one of my cars still run. Now, let me make it clear, we all know Rick Hendrick is not the owner, but those are his cars that he sells that team. That is his motors. Rick Hendrick making a statement in Victory Lane that, yes, we do have an alliance. Yes, Speed, you are right, that we've been saying that all along, so thanks, Rick.
And he's also a good friend and a confidant of Tony Stewart. Tony Stewart says Rick Hendrick is the guy he called. He wore out his phone, learning how to win, asking him questions, and guess what? He's accomplished it in a backup car from the back of the field.
And we definitely can't forget the partner, Gene Haas. There's Tony's dad there. This is the first time I believe that Tony's dad has been at a race that Tony has won in the Nextel Sprint Cup. But this is a big day, fans, and the reason why, this is a new era in our sport. You're starting to see, the last time we saw this was with Alan Kawicki, late Alan Kawicki being the owner. Well, now Tony is setting a precedent.
Also Ricky Rudd.
And Ricky Rudd, I'm sorry.
Did it?
And he's setting there he is, the victor. He's setting a precedent here. You can become an owner and driver in today's era with this car that we're racing. The alliance you make with your teams, such as Tony has made with the Hendrick organization, and Kenny, you can have good results.
And let me make a point. Let's go over this. Tony Stewart starts last in the race. By lap 30, he's running 10th. Now, my notes say his teammate, the Rocket Man, Ryan Newman, finishes 5th. So for Stewart Haas Racing, it's positive all around. A first, a win, and there the number 39 is on the scoreboard.
Wouldn't that be like, Kenny, that's got to be like 6 or 7 top 5s, right, Johnny, with the 39.
And remember when the people were saying, oh, Tony doesn't know what he's getting into. Tony doesn't know what he's biting off right now. Other people haven't been able to do it. Well, guess what? Tony Stewart and Ryan Newman are doing it right now. Let's take a quick look at what kind of weekend this number 14 has had. Let's go back to yesterday. And guys, in the first practice session, here goes the smoke.
Well, smoke comes through the total turn. He says, look, driver error. He gets loose. He's going to spin out. But the splitter is only a ½ inch off the ground, digs into the grass, and destroys the nose.
Here comes the backup.
Now, here's the happy hour, fans. These teams are so prepared. This is the backup car. 45 minutes or so to turn this thing around. Impressive by Darian Grubb, the Old Spice team, to get this car on the track for Tony. And you know what Tony said? He jumps to 6th in the board, Johnny.
Now let's jump to today. Tony Stewart was supposed to start on the pole by virtue of being the points leader after the rained-out qualifying. Now he drops to the back of the pack. He's got 500 miles to do it, but he doesn't waste any time doing it. And also, how about this for the Darian Grubb-led crew as they get Tony out first, and he just never looked back.
No, he had a good car all day long, you know. The thing about it here is the pit crews are very important. We know how intricate. They can't be making mistakes. And everybody, I was questioning this gas mileage. But you know what, Kenny? Saving the fuel with that soft on the throttle. Here he has enough fuel to do a spectacular burnout for the fans here at Pocono.
And Tony doesn't realize it, but he's rubbing it in everybody's face. Look, I have so much fuel left.
Have more.
I'm going to do about 10 burnouts. I have lots of fuel left.
And he drives the car in Victory Lane. That's pretty cool.
And you're going to want to stay with us because we're going to have a very happy owner-driver, Tony Stewart, who is victorious in his number 14 car in race number 14 of the season here at Pocono. Back with more in a moment.
NASCAR Victory Lane is presented by Travelodge, Recreate, Hibernate, and brought to you by AutoZone, because do-it-yourself doesn't mean you have to do it alone. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Welcome back, everybody, to Pocono for the first of 2 stops at this big triangular racetrack. And you know what? It was a pretty long weekend for everybody involved here. We sat around in the rain on Friday and simply watched as no cars got on the track. Then everybody, including this number 14 team led by Tony Stewart, got out on the racetrack, and it wasn't easy from there on out for the smoke. But in the end, where there's smoke, there's a burning desire to win. Let's show you exactly how Tony got it done back to lap number 1 as he dropped to the back of the field, and therefore team cars, Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon started out front, but we got a long day in front of us.
And what surprises me on this start right here, the 11 car, well, the 48 runs over a little bit of water, which scared everybody, including me. But look at the 11 car down on the bottom, having a problem. Watch this. Bam.
That's trouble for a 2-time winner at this track.
Yeah, and Denny Hamlin runs strong. Couldn't get back. Fuel pump issues, something with the fuel cable or something like that. And no fuel, no power.
And now we see for the first time this double file restart shootout style we've been talking about.
I love this format. I think this is going to be a great turn of events for NASCAR. We're seeing the leaders taking the outside lane here, Kenny, which surprised me.
Well, I think, you know, Spencer, they're thinking what track favors that group. Here goes 3-time champ passing 4-time champ. You talk about some superstars up front. Gordon and Johnson going at it.
And a 1-time champ behind him, Kurt Busch. He decides he wants to get out there. They're looking for points. You don't think they worry about 5 points for leading a lap at this day and age? You do.
You're right, you do, Johnny. And, you know, these guys here trying to figure out the lane. That's the neat thing about Pocono fans. A lot of side-by-side racing, and this is what's important. Here comes the 14 car. Now, remember, he crashed in practice. He had to go to the rear of the field. Here he is making his move here, 3 wide, going into the tunnel turn.
Making it look easy was Tony Stewart coming from the back of the pack, but look at the kind of competition he was fighting to get up front. Here you see the Biff, who has never had good results at this track, but has always run very well.
At this point in the game, Jimmy Johnson was getting loose, and, you know, the Biff came up, and Jimmy Johnson came across his radar and goes, "What's going on?" But Jimmy was just that free, and when a car got behind him, Jimmy got loose. But here he comes back. He's not going to give up that easy. He finally does have to give up at this point right here.
Well, here's the car that's starting to express that I want to win this race. Carl Evans, we saw him win this race back to back. He's showing his strength right here. Bold move outside of Biffle in turn 4, back to the inside of Lowe's to 48 and take the lead, Kenny.
Now, Mikey Waltrip has too much rear brake in his car. He simply puts on the brake and the car spins out. He loses 10 seconds is what we counted. 10 seconds caused him to go down a lap early.
So even big pit roads can be treacherous here at Pocono. Let's take a look at some of the pit stops, some of the best in the business going to work on these cars.
Yeah, and what we're seeing here, Johnny, now a lot of times at Pocono, we're seeing green flag pit stops. This in particular one was a caution. But, you know, here we see all guys 4 tires of fuel because you don't run a lot of laps here. But watch this pit stop, fans. Now, this, I can't figure out this. The guy gets the first cannon, makes a chassis change, but he has to walk all the way back. Look at how far back he walks. Bam, slips, misses, doesn't get the car full of fuel, Johnny. Listen here.
All right, I got bad news. We are going to have to short pit. We did not get to full. All right, tempo.
That is the mark of a championship team and a championship driver. As you take a look at what exactly went on the pit road, what you see after that, or what we heard after that, was them talking about very calmly how they're going to fix the problem.
And that's the big thing. We heard Jack Roush earlier on our show on the Home Depot set say that, you know, my teams, he gives this team an A. Well, that's the confidence, Kenny, that they have the crew chief and the driver. It just builds, builds, builds. There's a good example of a championship caliber team making a mistake and not making a major mistake because of it.
And here the 48, now this was a pit stop where he's locking his brakes up, slides over the line. Now at this point, they said he came in, but it was no good because the caution had fell out. So because of this pit stop, the 48 had to go to the back of the pack. Caution was waving, but he was already committed. So at that time, Jimmy Johnson has to go to the back of the pack.
And that's a tough break. We've seen that happen before. Happened to Kurt Busch on the road course. All of a sudden, the red light comes out. Just a tough break after you've committed. Well, congratulations all around from teammate Ryan Newman. We're going to get Tony over here in just a moment. Tune into the only recap show with analysis and perspective from the participants in the event. Monday, Michael Waldrop and Greg Biffle will dissect how the Pocono race really happened, get the inside angle with descriptions from inside the cockpit this week in NASCAR. Monday, 8 Eastern, only on Speed. And man, it was exciting inside the cockpit for Tony Stewart. As you know what, he gets to hoist a couple different trophies as he gets congratulations from teammate Ryan Newman. He's going to hoist that owner trophy and a driver trophy as well. Now, when we left off, Tony Stewart was making his way through the field, and it looked like the 48 and the 99 were two of the stronger cars of the day. Let's pick up another round of highlights here as we still have a long way to go in this race, as this is a long one here. And look at the trouble on the car for the 39 of Ryan Newman.
Well, what happens here is Ryan lost a cylinder. He was only on 7 cylinders. He needs to be on 8, and right now they're taking a crayon and they're putting it on each header and they're trying to figure out which cylinder is dead. Now, they do get it fixed, Jimmy Spencer.
And what's interesting about that deal is that only at Pocono can you do that because it takes such a long time. But here's a mistake by Dale Earnhardt. He runs into the back of Stremme. He does not give David. We're always on Stremme's butt, so to speak. And Dale Earnhardt, you give David a little room. He doesn't. Squeezes Stremme here a little bit on the right corner.
Oh.
Elliott Sadler's in there. It's frustration. If you think about it, he has a bad pit stop. Once again, he slides through his pit. Earnhardt, get your frustration straightened out. Don't take it out on these guys on the racetrack.
This morning on NASCAR Race Day, you heard the real deal behind Roush Fenway Racing this year, and you know what? We saw the Roush Fenway cars do very well today.
Yeah, at one time, here's the 17 taking the lead from Tony Stewart. We saw 99 Carl, 17 Matt Kenseth, and 16 Biffle, 1, 2, 3 most of the day. Really strong in this part of the race.
Somewhat teammate cars here getting together. The 47 of Marcus Ambrose and the 00 of David Reutimann.
Well, they're under the same roof there at Michael Waldrop Racing, but just a deal where Ambrose gets a little heavy on the brake. The 0-0, good racing. They did a great job not crashing.
More Roush Fenway cars battling for yet another lead position.
Well, we said earlier that you're not going to keep the Roush Brigade down long, and here they are. They're showing up front all day long at Pocono. So just when you start to say, what's wrong with Roush? Here they come, and they were strong today.
And you said that earlier on the show, Kenny, that you're not going to keep Roush down long. It proved it here today.
Nothing wrong with them today as they spent a lot of time out front and in the lead here, as it's a racetrack that they traditionally run well on. Now, more trouble going on here back in the field. There's the number 88 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Whoop, gets a loose. Gets up, and he hits the wall right here. Not really that hard. But at this point, they make an adjustment to the car. And, Kenny, just not a good day for the 88 car. Overheating number 2 car. He ran great today.
Yeah, the number 2 ran in the top 5, top 10 all day long, and you're thinking, okay, he's overheating. Well, look, he's overheating so bad, we got to lift the hood here. He goes 18 laps down.
There's Old Faithful.
Yep, Old Faithful. the old blue deuce, baby. Anyway, they get it cooled off, and he does finish the race.
And this is typical Sprint Cup racing. You have a real strong car, and unfortunately for them, the water pump ends up taking them out of the day. But here's the 99. Now, all at once, this is about a 4-second lead. He is really starting to take that Aflac car to the lead.
Whack.
And whack. Right. Great commercials. And it just starts to really pull away. I say, this is the car to beat right here, boys. And you know what? The Aflac duck was the only person that was happy on Friday because only a duck would like that kind of weather. But we had beautiful weather today. When we come back, we're going to take you with 50 laps to go towards the end of this thing. And guess what? We had a few raindrops here today as well. But we have beautiful sunshine now. Speed into Father's Day at Infineon Raceway in Sonoma for the Toyota Save Mart 350. Visit the speed stage all weekend and sign up to win the Ultimate Father's Day race package. You could win the chance to watch the Sprint Cup Series race from the pits. Go to speedtv.com, keyword promo. We're not saying that Victory Lane is ever boring, but this is a fun Victory Lane. This number 14 team is celebrating big time because they've worked hard. And at Pocono, we have double tier Victory Lane, as you see, and Tony is bathing with the champagne, and the fans are loving it, Johnny. Only at Pocono can you get this Victory Lane. He's been known to do that before, Jimmy, bathe people with certain liquids after races. All right, let's go back with 50 laps to go now. Look who is out there in front in the lead, but because of the double file restart, shootout style.
Shootout style. Here goes.
Got people all over the place.
Now what we're thinking is okay, Carl Edwards is going to win the race, but because of shootout style, double file restarts, Tony Stewart goes out in the lead while Carl races with Matt Kenseth. Look at her, 48 dead sideways up off of 4.
The man coming out of nowhere here is the 9 car, consistently working on that car all day long. Here he is battling Jimmy Johnson for a top 5 right there. But the smoke on cruise control right now, fans. Got the right adjustments. Darian Grubb makes the right adjustments on this car, and as you see, he starts to just pull away from Carl Edwards, the guy that dominated most of this race.
Very key pit stop coming up here because you wanted to make sure you had plenty of fuel in this car, as you do on every pit stop. But nonetheless, we had to figure out right now who was going to make it and who wasn't going to be able to.
Yeah, it starts to become an issue now. What do we do? 2 tires, no fuel. And this is the first one. Casey Kane, 2 tires and fuel.
Now the 48 and the 99 are battling because they're thinking the 14 may be out of gas. He slowed, but that was only to preserve.
And so both of them decide to race each other, but guess what happens? As the 48 comes to the checkered flag, he runs out of gas, and he ends up finishing 7th. But this guy does not run out of gas. Tony Stewart wins the race.
How about that checkered flag? As the 48 fades to the back, he went from second to 7th by the time he crossed the start-finish line. And guess who was doing the burnout afterwards? It was the man called Smoke, was putting smoke all over the racetrack.
Hey, did I tell you that I use that Old Spice stuff, and that's why I don't smell?
I don't know that it works that well, Jimmy.
Oh,
on you. I'm sure it works great. Anyway, let's take a look at the results here. We got Stewart, Edwards, Reutimann, Jeff Gordon, and Ryan Newman in with the top 5.
How about Marcus Ambrose, Kenny 6? We saw Jimmy Johnson running, guys. Good run for Juan Pablo. Jeff Burton didn't have a good day, but another good run for Sam.
I gotta get this in. I don't know how Reutimann won the Coke 600, but he finished the start today.
Good point, Kenny.
Yeah, you know how he did. He's running up front every week.
Right.
That's how he did it. The Biff is 11th. Jamie McMurray is 13th. Matt Kenseth, Waltrip, and Truex 18th.
Yeah, and here Matt Kenseth, you see these guys had to fit for fuel. Michael Waltrip, a good day. Even all the problems he had, he gets the lucky dog. He goes back and gets 17th. But here you go, Vickers, strong car, 21st, not indicative. As we go down here, A.J. Allmendinger, 30th. Unfortunately, ran out of gas, did not make it back.
John Andretti and Dexter Bean in the 30 and the 51 finished 36. Hamlin, Sterling Marlin, and Dave Blaney, Nemechek Gilliland, and Patrick Carpentier. Now it is time for points as we see the Smoke is still your points leader after this strong run today, as now he has a 71-point lead over Jeff Gordon, 103 over Jimmy Johnson, and Ryan Newman moves up a slot.
Yeah, but we see Mark Martin dropped out of the top 12. And Denny Hamlin dropped all the way back to 12th. And Kenny, look at this. David Reutimann, after the 3rd place finish, moves to the top 12. What a day for points.
You know what? Mark the Kid Martin finished 19th today because I guess of handling bad and gas, you know. 1 point. Martin is 1 point out of 12.
1 point. That's incredible.
Now it is time for our Valvoline guaranteeing the win. And guess who did the best job at guaranteeing the win today? None other than the number 14 pit crew, as they did a great job getting Tony Stewart from the first pit box out of the pit lane first. And therefore, he was able to guarantee a win for his team that just happens to have his name on the ownership label of Stewart Haas Racing. More interviews to come for Tony, but in a moment he's coming over to talk to us as the driver winner. It just so happens that the number 14 car won the 14th race of the season for this race team, sponsored by Office Depot, Old Spice, everybody like that that's pitched in on this thing. It was not a matter of if, but when they were going to get to victory lane in a points race. Tony, congratulations. Was this a long time coming for you, or is this earlier than you thought you might be able to get this done?
It's pretty early still, I think, but you know, we got that first one at the All-Star race. This was just the first point win, so you know, and not trying to downplay it, but I mean, we got that first win in May, so you know, I'm just proud of our guys. I mean, this was one of those races we didn't back into it running 20th and winning it on fuel mileage. We you know, we had the lead when we came out, and we were second going in on that last stop, and pit crew did an awesome job on the Old Spice Office Depot team and got us the lead when we came out, and you know, once we got the lead, we never looked back.
Very likable guy in the garage area. And the relationship you have with Gibbs.
Oh, I thought you were talking about somebody else for a minute. Sorry, go ahead. Now I'm caught up now.
And for you to come over here, big step. Yeah. But what a pleasure to be working with all the people you've got there.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate to have a great group of guys, and I've always had a great group of guys. Yep. I mean, when I was at Gibbs and Greg Zeppedelli and everybody on the Home Depot team, they were awesome. They have always been awesome. They're still family. I was in there this morning. We were talking about how we ran at the Dream last night because a bunch of them knew I was running over there. So, you know, but it's just a different group, you know, and with Bobby Hutchins leading this thing, and Darian Grubb and Tony Gibson and Ryan Newman as a teammate, it's you know, it's the same but different. I mean, it's the same quality. It's just a different group of people doing it.
All right, so there's the winning driver. We're going to take a quick break here on NASCAR Victory Lane. When we come back, we're going to have the winning car owner here with us in Victory Lane. But right now, we want to say congratulations to Tony Stewart for the winner from NASCAR Banking, only from Bank of America. Welcome back, everybody, to Long Pond, Pennsylvania. It turned out to be a beautiful day, except for a couple of quick rain showers. We got all 500 miles in, and in the end, Tony Stewart was the winner. We just talked to the winning driver, Tony Stewart. Now we have the winning owner, Tony Stewart.
Hold on. All right, hold on.
Oh, you got to switch from the driver hat to the owner hat.
Okay,
Oh, the owner hat.
now.
And now with the owner hat on, I think Kenny Wallace has a question for you.
Tony, I was looking at Victor Lane. I seen Jeff Mendering, Matt Borland, Darian Grubb. I thought, this is an all-star cast. Car owner, I mean, how do you assemble these guys?
Luck, you know, and great leadership from Rick Hendrick. I mean, we relied on Rick a lot when we decided to do this, and I talked to him a lot before I even decided to, you know, make that decision. But since then, it was, you know, knowing that you're going to be working with a lot of Hendrick people because of the engine and chassis department who do a great job for us. You want to make sure that you have people in your organization that are going to work good with their organization. And so a lot of the decision making, a lot of those ideas went through Rick first, and a lot of them came from Rick. You know, Rick said, hey, what do you think about this guy? You know, this is somebody I think would be really good for that spot. So Rick has been a huge, huge help to me. I mean, he's been a great mentor, and you know, he's been my security blanket. I mean, I'm not that smart. People give me way too much credit for this, but you know, there's a lot of really good people that have helped.
I would just like to say that Rick Hendrick came by and shouted to us, hey, at least I got one of my cars into Victory Lane. So Rick Hendrick is taking you as like one of his cars.
Yeah, he has. You know, from day one, he said, anything I can do to help, he goes, I won't let this fail. And you know, it's been 11 o'clock, midnight some nights, and actually a couple days ago at 2 o'clock in the morning, we were text messaging each other. He just sent me one, and he didn't expect me to send one back, and I'm always up at 2 o'clock in the morning. But you know, just Rick's been a great help, and you know, Rick has known Joe Custer and everybody at Gene Haas and everybody at Haas Automation for a long time, and you know, Rick has been the helping hand from day one with that organization, and he continues to be there.
That's my question. Gene Haas, it has to be a big relief for Mr. Haas finally to get a points race. I mean, yes, you won the All-Star race in great fashion, but this has to be special for Gene.
Oh, I know it is. I haven't spoke to him yet on the phone, but you know, I'm going to call him when we get done here, and I know he's going to be ecstatic. I mean, he was so happy at Charlotte, the All-Star race, to get that first win, and after all these years to get in Victory Lane, and now to get that point win is something that he's going to be very proud of, I know.
Tony, what sense of satisfaction is this for you? I mean, a lot of people, there were the critics out there. You bit off a big bite to chew, but you guys have done it.
I've always done that, though. That's
Right.
been the last 38 years of my life. I've always bit off more than I could chew. But you know, it's not so much it's gratifying for me. It's just gratifying for the whole group. I mean, trust me. I mean, I'm a lot calmer nowadays, and why I don't know, because this should be the most stressful thing I've ever done. But you know, I'm surrounded with good people, and that lets you be calm. But it's a great feeling. But it's so much fun, not for me as an individual, but for the whole organization. And that's when we have days like this that it means more to me for that group, and for people like Chevrolet, that when we went to them and said, hey, this is something we're considering doing, and they said, hey, we're behind you 100%. So it's for the Chevrolets, it's for the Office Depots, the Old Spices, the U.S. Army, those people, the Coca-Colas, Burger Kings, all those people that said, hey, we believe in what he's going to do, and we want to do it with him, and we want to be there from day one. And that's what this is all about. It's not about Tony Stewart, the driver, not Tony Stewart, the owner. It's about Stewart Haas Racing and all of our partners that have said, hey, we're behind you guys 100%.
Well, your team has done it. Congratulations, man. Thanks, owner Tony Stewart and driver Tony Stewart for coming by and talking to us just a moment ago. And now we have crew chief Darian Grubb is about to come up here. And you know what? This is not his first race win. Points win as a crew chief. We'll tell you about that in just a moment. He got the driver hat from Tony Stewart. And as we head into Michigan, the Camping World Truck Series races into the Irish Hills. Eric Darnell captured the victory by only 0.005 of a second. Tune in to see what happens this time. Welcome back, everybody, to Victory Lane. We want to make sure you be there Friday on Speed as we kick everything off in Michigan. It's NASCAR Sprint Cup practice starts the day out. We finished up with NASCAR Trackside at 8 o'clock Eastern Time only from Michigan. And that is brought to you by Advanced Auto Parts. This win today for Tony Stewart's team was also brought to you by crew chief Darian Grubb. And Darian, we know the driver is nervous when you're close on fuel. How nervous is the crew chief up there?
We're pretty nervous, but it's one of those things we know how much Tony had to save, so we're able to give him some lap times, tell him how much he needed to back off, tell him what his gaps are to second and third, and just trusting Tony to do that. And we could tell he was doing everything he needed to do. The lap times were really good, so we knew we were going to save enough to make it to the end.
Darian, obviously the car had a wreck. Tony, said a run out of talent, but regardless, he said the second car was better. As a crew chief, how do you explain that?
Honestly, when we unloaded the second car, we'd already had a couple of runs on the first car, and we'd made quite a few changes, so I took all those changes into account when we put the setup in the backup car, and then made another step on all those changes. So I think everything we did was a positive change for what they were doing.
You know, Darren, we talk on our shows about the Hendrick involvement. You having won in the past with the Hendrick team, how much help do you receive from Hendrick? I mean, yes, you get cars and motors, but how much other help that does the Stewart Haas team get?
I mean, it's honestly a 50-50 relationship now. We're a very strong organization as they're on our own with Stewart Haas, but the engine and chassis program is something that we know is 100%. I mean, Mark Whitten and those guys in the chassis shop, and then Jeff Andrews and all the guys in the engine shop, we don't have to worry about that. We know that's 100% every week. We can show up, we can worry about the setup, we can worry about making the car fast and comfortable for Tony, and that means a lot. And hopefully we're able to give back to them some on the setup side with having Tony's experience and Ryan Newman's experience and their backgrounds and what they've felt in the past. I think we're all getting stronger just as both organizations.
And a tough question, how do you trust them?
You got to trust them. I mean, it's pieces of steel that they're rolling in their shop as a chassis, and it's engines that are showing up. But it's a love-hate relationship. You would love to have your own engine program, but we don't have those kind of resources, and we don't plan to anytime soon. That engine shop is very, very strong. We don't need our own engine shop. So as long as we've got that trust relationship and everything we're doing, I think we're just going to continue on in the future.
Well, Darren, we hear guys like Rick Hendrick all the time talk about how the cars don't win races, it's the people around them. And Kenny just rattled off a group of names up there on Victory Lane that are among the best in the business. I mean, your people surrounding you has to be one of the main reasons we're sitting here in Victory Lane.
Absolutely. Everybody works so hard at the entire Stewart Haas organization, and they put so many hours in just all the way from Daytona to here. And they said this was a week that we had a setback. We had to go to a backup car. They forget we had to do that for the Daytona 500. So we unloaded a car there. We made 10 laps in practice and went out there and ran in the top 10 at Daytona. So it shows the championship caliber of this team and the entire organization and how hard they work. And we actually came out and earned this. They said we got given the pole because we were leading the points. Well, we earned that point.
Yeah, you earned the point
lead. It took us a whole half the season so far to get that. So I feel very proud to say we had that. And then for Tony to go out there and go to the back, he told us right before he took the green, he said, "Don't worry, boys, I owe you one. I'll give you one back here. I wrecked that car." And it's like, I told him, I said, we're a team. We're going to earn this as a team. And the pit crew is the one that done it. They came out there and we beat the 99 off pit road that last time. Yep. And that's what gave us the opportunity to take off in clean air on the double file restart. And then he was able to start backing off and saving a little fuel from there.
Darian, this is our first opportunity to interview you, so I got to ask you a question about another employee that Tony keeps talking about, is Bobby Hutchins. Obviously, you got him from Childress. I mean, how does a man of this quality, how do you get him away from another top-notch team?
It was just a lucky timing where he had gone over and actually worked with DEI, and they were going through that restructuring and the reorganization, the merger with Earnhardt Ganassi. So he was obviously looking around a little bit, just trying to figure out what the secure position was, and we were able to land in on that.
Another question. I want to give credit where credit's due. Now, I know you get the motors, I know you get the chassis, but do you hang the bodies on the cars yourself?
Absolutely. We have a very strong aero department. We hang all of our own bodies. We do all of our own wind tunnel testing. We've got a very strong organization there. We do a lot of finished fab work and stuff, just tweaking on these cars, and that's where the difference is now. We're in such a tight box with what everybody has. It's all the detail work that really matters, and they're not missing a beat. They're hitting every little dot in every I and crossing every T just to be able to make sure we're not lacking for anything.
I just wanted to make the point to the fans that you're getting the kit, but you guys are putting it together.
Absolutely.
Let's back up 7-8 months ago. I mean, you are in the best organization in motorsports. You could be leading the Dale Jr. crew chief. Why? That was a big risk, big chance. What made you decide to leave?
The situation I was in there, I was very happy where I was. I didn't want to go looking for an opportunity or anything, but when Tony approached me about it, it was something I had to really think about because I know Tony's passion and how driven he is to go out here and win. And his dream is to own a team, win championships, win races, and I mean that's what he does every night. I mean he went to Eldora on Friday night and Saturday night. He's a racer. He wants to race 24 hours a day, and that's what we're all proud to be a part of. We all want to go out there with him and help earn all these wins and championships.
AJ, where there's smoke, there's fire. Darian, congratulations. Now we know this in your first win in a points race as a crew chief. You got a Daytona 500 win, filling in on a substitute role. So you've been here before, but you're back again with your new team. Congratulations. Nicely done.
Thank you very much.
All right, that is crew chief Darian Grubb, and the number 14 team. They are winners now in a points race and an all-star race as well, as the sun sets in the west over Pocono Raceway. We'll be back with much more Victory Lane in a moment.
NASCAR Victory Lane is presented by Travelodge, Recreate, Hibernate, and brought to you in part by NASCAR Banking, only from Bank of America. Your debit card, your credit card, your driver. Learn more at a Bank of America banking center.
What started out as a weekend that had weather only fit for a duck finished up with a pretty good run for the Aflac Ducking team. Carl Edwards had a dominating race car for the early part of this race, and they were sitting there poised to attack if Tony Stewart had run out of gas. But that wasn't the case, so Carl Edwards had to settle for a second. Let's check in with Bob Dillner.
The end result is a good finish for Carl Edwards, but Carl, after dominating this race, I know you wanted this one real bad.
Oh, I wanted it real bad, but you know, Tony has that first pit stall. He beat us off pit road by half a car length or something. And I knew right then, boy, this is going to be a serious race. His car was really fast. He did a good job with his backup car. Man, my Aflac Fusion was so good all day, though. I was confident if we just raced, I'd be able to go right by him and win this thing. But then the fuel mileage thing came into play, and Tony did a really good job of saving. I thought for sure he was going to run out of gas. So I'll be interested to see how much fuel's left in my fuel tank.
I was going to say, it was interesting. It was kind of reminiscent of last year here when he won this race. You and the conversation between you and Bob, at one point he told you to haul butt and then conserve and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, they're up there pounding away on their calculators. And, you know, there was a couple laps where he said, we can't make it. And then he said, I just threw my bottom water. And then he said, we can make it. And then he said, we can't. And then he said, all right, we can. And I sometimes I don't know which one of those to believe, but I was optimistic, and obviously we made it. Looking back, I would have raced a little harder, raced Tony a little harder, and made him use more fuel, but that's racing.
Can you take any value in the fact that this is your third straight top 10 finish, Carl?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if we run like this all the time, we're going to win lots of races, just like we did last season. So hopefully we've kind of, you know, shed that whatever's been slowing us down, and just looking good.
Go get your vitamin water.
All right, thanks.
All right, Carl Edwards with a great run here today. He's up to 6th in points.
Now, so often in this situation, we hear a crew chief get on the radio and say, hey, man, can you save me some fuel? As a driver, how in the heck do you save fuel when you got guys chasing you at, 160, 170 miles an hour?
Fans, it's the hardest thing in the world for a race car driver. Have you heard Carl say that, you know, I had a good car. You saw him just go right back by the 48 car there the last lap. And as a race car driver, for you to back off the throttle, knowing how strong your car is, and knowing that there's a car in front of you that you possibly could get up there and race hard and pass, but you got to look at the big picture. Third top 10, you have to say to yourself, we have to maintain this top 12 in points. We have to come out every good day and build on it. But it's the hardest part of the race car driver to have that good a car and lift off that throttle. Can you just save that fuel?
It is really hard, Jimmy. You know, first of all, number one, you have to have a good car. You can't have a slow car and save gas mileage. Now, I want everybody to listen to this. We're going to listen to Tony Stewart, how he's pedaling the gas, you know, protecting his win. We have it right here, and we're going to show you how he's letting. I'm going to lay out and listen.
Awesome.
Boy, he was out of the throttle forever.
Listen here.
Tells you how long the straightaways are here at Pocono. Totally out.
Coasting.
Now, Kenny, that's saving serious
Yep.
fuel mileage.
Listen here. He's barely on the gas.
At the same time, you got to be looking in your rearview mirror.
And you're exactly right. He's looking in his mirror. His crew chief is saying, okay, you're good. But Spence, you know the only way you can do that is to have a car perfectly balanced where it just rolls through the corner.
There you go. He's way out.
race fans.
That's the last lap heading into turn number 1. Now he's back on it.
Yeah. Now, race fans, can you believe what you're hearing? Can you believe, race fans, that this car won the race, saving gas mileage?
You got the 48 and the 99 bearing down on you. You're taught all your life it's the pedal on the right. You put it to the floor and you go. And yet Tony had the presence of mind and the patience to do that.
Well, and fans, what impresses me, the guys you just said, the 14, my God, Tony Stewart, he doesn't know what it is to lift. He drives his heart out. 99, he drives his heart out. The 48, Kenny, these guys, this is why, though. They listen to their crew chief, they're team players. This is why they're championship caliber drivers.
All right, now if anybody wanted to say that David Reutimann backed into his race win at Charlotte, you're not talking about the right driver. He's been up there all season long. He got another great finish today, and Bob Dillner got to the bottom of just how the 00 got it done.
How ironic is it now that it's raining here at Pocono, and I'm standing here with Mr. Rainman, David Reutimann, back from the Charlotte win a few weeks ago, but a good run here today. And I know you're going to say, you know, it's part fuel mileage, but that plays into the mix of cup racing all the time, man.
Yeah, I mean, the guy that won it, you know, played fuel mileage too, although he was pretty good either way. But no, we just, you know, leaving when we made that last pit stop, Rodney Schiller said just save fuel. I think we'll be able to make it. So from the time, that was our plan from the time we came in to the end. So I had a good Airstream machine. Toyota Racing Development gave us some good horsepower and gave us some good fuel mileage on top of that, which is not always easy. And you know, we hung around in the top 10 all day and had a pretty decent car, and it just you know, worked out for us at the end. My hat's off to the guys. They did a great job on pit road, and this feels like a win here for me because I've been so terrible here in the past that it's just really good to get out here with a good top 5 finish.
What do you think about the double file restart shootout style here for the first time at Pocono?
I think it worked out pretty well. I mean, I think more importantly, we'll have to find out what the fans want because I mean, we need to, you know, start giving them what they ask for on occasion. And I think it went pretty well. Sometimes it worked for you, sometimes it was against you, and it just like we figured it would. So I think all in all, for kind of our first experiment and our first venture into this area of double file restarts, I think it went pretty well.
Third top 5 of the season for David Reutimann. He's up to 11th in points.
David Reutimann, 11th in the points, and you think, man, how did this cat come out of nowhere? I mean, yeah, we knew he was coming in, and where did Michael Waltrip find him? But now we sit here thinking, okay, he's a Cup winner, Coke 600. He's won a nationwide race, Memphis, Tennessee. He won a truck race, Nashville, Tennessee. He's on the scene at 38, 39 years old. Spence, this is just an incredible story. This reminds me of the pitcher, you know, baseball pitcher that was 46 years old throwing 90-mile-an-hour fastballs. He's just getting better with age.
And the thing I have to say about this whole thing, people. We heard Tony Stewart say about people, Darian Grubb coming on board. Crew Chief Rodney Childers comes on board with David Reutimann. What a success. They go to win. Now in the top 12 points. Good job, Michael. The flagship team, without a question, Johnny.
Absolutely. They call him the franchise, and they have good reason for doing that. David Reutimann's running great this season. And now that we have double file restarts, we want to find out more about how that went. For more on that, let's go to Bob Dillner with Jeff Gordon.
Sometimes it's the driver, and Jeff Gordon's a pretty good one. Sometimes it's the car. Sometimes it's a call on pit road. And today for the top 5 finish, maybe a call on pit road paid off.
Yeah, we had a strong DuPont Chevrolet early. Those double file restarts, I got shuffled back being in the inside lane and just never could recover from it. The car just really went away on us. We were pretty good there in clean air at the beginning of the race, and so I was pretty disappointed that we were that far off and we were struggling like that in traffic. But you know, you got to play it out however you can. We never gave up. So I'm proud of the team, proud of Steve. You know, we tried to win it there with the rain. It would take them any way we can get them. And that didn't work out, but it actually worked in our favor to come in late, get fuel, top off, and be able to make it all the way to the end. Well, almost. I ran out off of turn 4.
Veteran perspective here. First race with the double file shootout style restarts. Your thoughts?
You know, I think it's cool. I think it's exciting. You know, it didn't work out in our favor today. It hurt us, but it was good for others. So, you know, you got to really be good on those restarts for the first lap or two. Because it was almost impossible to pass here on the longer runs. It was so tough to pass today. And on the restarts, man, guys are just scrambling all over the place. And my car was just a car that was good, you know, when I could just take off kind of easy, not too hard. So it didn't work in our favor, but next week it might, you know, and it's going to go 50-50 for some, 50-50 for I'm just impressed that we were able to actually score everything and everything, you know, kind of. I was so confused in the driver's meeting that you know, I stopped listening and left it up to Steve Letarte. But NASCAR did a great job working it all out today.
Jeff Gordon does a good job, too. His 7th top 5 of the year. He's still 2nd in points.
Bob, thanks a lot, and good run by Jeff Gordon. You know, when it comes to the double file restarts, definitely they were a good thing. The fans liked them. The fans want them. A lot of people are congratulating NASCAR for putting them in, and it did add some excitement, but it's probably a little bit too strong to say that it revolutionized the sport. I mean, it was cool, but...
Time to have fun now, Spence. We've got all.
Kenny just likes to say shootout style.
We've got all the serious stuff out of the way.
We haven't been serious yet today.
Double file restarts, okay? Just double file restarts. But now this double file restarts, shootout style. I'm like, this is getting out of hand.
Don't even get me started.
I'm going to start making fun of it.
I know.
Next week on race day.
Come on, it's fun.
Yeah, here we are, shootout
Double
style.
file restart.
All right, let's take a look at them, how they go, and why Jeff Gordon is saying you got to be so good on them.
Well, the thing is Jeff's saying that here he's on the outside, and he's got the clean air. These cars like clean air. These cars like to have the air balance on their car. Now you see these cars back here 2 and 3 wide. Dirty air, disturb it. This is what causes the double fall. To me, this is absolutely awesome. NASCAR, you did a fantastic job by doing this. And the thing is like he said, some of these guys are going to win, some of these guys are going to lose from it, Kenny.
Yeah, and here's what Jeff Gordon's talking about. And, you know, we all do this. As a race car driver, and when you run these long races, you try to set your car up real neutral because you want the car to stay turning. On these restarts, Jeff Gordon had his car set up loose. But you can't drive it loose when you're going down into turn 1 of Pocono, 210 mile an hour with somebody laid on your right side.
Yeah, he's down on the inside.
Yeah, and to really go good, you got to turn left on the wheel and have your car stay underneath you. What Jeff's saying is, look, I got my car set up for the long run. It's not going to run good for 10 laps. Well, let me tell you something. If you're going to get your car ready for shootout style, then you better get some wheel underneath it so you can get it on.
That's talking about getting some wheel underneath the car.
I'm done.
Roush Fenway Racing. I don't think Kenny's done. He's never done. But Roush Fenway Racing had a good showing today, and let's not forget that we're next week going back to Jack Roush's backyard up in Michigan there, where they always run very well. This could be the time of the year for a resurgence of the Roush Fenway team. If they ever really went anywhere, they're still in championship form, but not all of the teams are up there where they want to be.
I think this testing program that NASCAR implemented, and I like it, no testing, has hurt some teams and has helped some teams. Naturally, it's helped the Hendrick bunch a little bit more than some of the others. But the thing here is that we're going to Roush's backyard, Johnny. You're right about that. And you will see a Roush car win that race next week at Michigan. It's just something that Jack gets excited about. Is he has some 1,200 employees right down the road in Livonia. You know, he gets excited for that.
I get excited for Michigan. You get a great crowd when you go to Michigan. Great race fans up there.
Baby.
And we want to thank once again the folks here at Pocono Raceway for being so hospitable to us all weekend long, starting with race day, finishing up here with Victory Lane. Congratulations to Tony Stewart on a huge victory for his own Stewart Haas Racing team. We'll see you next weekend in Michigan, but now let's look in the rearview mirror. Get set for a long afternoon in Long Pond. It's race day, Pocono.
Fire trucks, a ninja, toothless clown. It was an extravaganza, to say the least.
Oh, now
sorry.
who's got short-term memory loss?
I guess that's me.
Okay.
He's here all week.
It's not like I had a whole lot going on.
I do the roll, baby, but he does the flip.
I shouldn't have had such a big breakfast.
Well, there you go.
Tony